Lawuratu mentions from where I come from and all of that. Mori is my father's hometown. We call it Mori. My hometown is in Pesediaze, and they are all in the Abra Asebukwa Mankese constituency. So if Lawuratu says that the people of Mori have had their lives to be better, that is a blatant lie. Because you know what? The outboard motor that they use for fishing along the coast, you cannot buy them now. And initially, under NDC President Bahamas presidency, the outboard motor, they were buying it with the chief fisherman as the frontier. So if I am a fisherman and I need an outboard motor, I'll go to the chief fisherman, they register my name, and I pay a certain amount to a bank, and government, under President Mahama, foot half of the bill. So that is, yes, that is how the government was cushioning these fishermen. And then we talk about the premix fuel. Today, the price of premix fuel has soared, and they cannot even have access to the premix fuel as it may.
What do you mean?
I went to Elmina some time back to go and engage with the fisher folks there.
When?
And what they tell you, just somewhere last month, what they tell you is that now the premix fuel, they don't get it as it is that those times you see the barrels and drums there, so you buy the amount that you need for your work. But now, when the cars come in, they don't even come in their numbers as they were supposed to. When it comes, they give the MPP chairman one, they give the women organizer part, and they are left with a few to scramble for at a price that is thrice the price of what they were buying under President Mahama. And now the new policy they have given out to them is that even the boats that they use for fishing, they have decreased the dimensions that they use. Now they have demarcated the sea. So if you are fishing in Mori, you cannot cross and go to Elmina to fish. But we all know that per the fishing, as it is, the fish migrate. So at a point, people from Mori will get probably what we call amani. Then they migrate because they move. This season they are here, the next season they are in Cape Coast. So people get it as it is.
What's the idea behind the demarcation of fishing areas?
Ask them.
There's no reason behind
it. Ask them. So one of the key things that one fisherman asked me, and I couldn't provide the answers, and I felt that I was short on knowledge there, was that he said, now that our Comson closes the sea at a point and opens it at a point, he wants to ask us, when did the fish inform government that this is the period they give birth?
By experience, by over a period of studying the geography of.
So what they are saying is that if you close it here, and the fish, as I explained earlier, they migrate. So you've closed it at this point. Per how they migrate and pass through our seas, by the time you open, no matching.
No, I don't get it. Are they saying that how Akumsin is not getting the right season?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't understand how the whole thing is run. But painfully, when the sea is closed and the fisher folks cannot go about.
But why have they sat on this for 8 good years and they've not been able to
stories they tell you, and the radio stations out there are doing a great job. They are always talking about it. And one thing that I find so precarious about what Lawuratu is saying is that if she wants to know, around that same enclave, there was a fisheries college that they have abandoned. Because
if you learn about the ecosystem, or maybe the water bodies, and maybe the fishes, you should, it's not something you have a choice.
So you need an expert.
So you need an expert to help you.
Yes. That is why the Fisheries College was established at that area. And what have they done to the college? They closed it down. They didn't continue it for it to become operationalized. To date, you see the remnants of what President Mahama started at that point. And there was a nice project that was done on the Elmina coast, where you go there and you have a sort of a cold room, we store the excesses from the catch they get for the day. What have they done to those storage points, the strong cold rooms? They have reduced it to a facility that is producing ice block.
For coastal?
No, they are selling ice block. So if you are having a funeral and then you go there, you buy ice block. That was not the purpose of that facility. That was not the purpose.
And just
And that's
So wait,
that
the facility for
was to
the
process
fishes education or
no,
school?
the facility for the college they have abandoned.
Okay.
And there is another facility at the coast of Elmina that was supposed to be, you see, when you go fishing and there is excess, they have to sell it at cheap price. And when it comes to the point where we are not fishing much, then we have to rely on imports. So in the vision of President Mahama, he built that edifice there so that we store the SSS. And there was a processing plant where the gills and other things that we throw away would have been processed into a feed for poultry. So that facility is what they have turned into an ice block facility.
In Elmina.
In Elmina.
Louisa,
Okay.
please give this to Annie. Let her read what is there.
So this one says that, Annie, please, good morning. Hope you're doing well.
Annie, read what is there.
In Wejagbawe Assembly, a street light has been given, or street lights have been given to the MPP PC, and he has his branded pictures on it all. So please tell Lawuratu that to know that what they are doing, to know their doings
Another
in the
texter said
politics
NDC.
with sharing
Annie,
of the street lights.
read
What do you want me
is
to
there.
read?
Read what is there. What do you see there?
Fishermen operating from the Bosontre Sam Fishing
No,
Harbour.
go back to the stories. Go back.
Which of the story is it?
All of them. Just read the headlines. You
Okay,
see there.
fishing trawlers in bumper harvest after close down. October 2021. October 2021.
So read all
Yeah,
these
and
things.
And then we have
No, read on.
fishermen record bumper harvest after end of close season.
What year is that?
2022.
Go on.
Fishers expect bumper harvest ahead of close season, August 2024.
So what is Louisa talking about?
And I am
No,
telling you on
hold
authority,
on.
if you go to Elmina,
I'm sorry.
if you
What
go
is
to
Louisa
Bodo,
talking
I'm sorry.
if you go to Cape Coast,
I'm sorry.
The minister doesn't
So
understand
sorry.
the season.
Sorry, they expect.
people
Hold
who
on, the
are there
2024.
that she's working with.
The 2024.
Yes.
It says that fishers expect
Exactly, but based on what? Based on
close
previous years.
season.
Based
Now
on
it's-
what?
now
Previous-
Yeah, but the point she's
Presentation
making is that the
is now
season.
performance for
No,
them.
but the
You
point
get it.
she's
So what's
making,
your
the point she's
Now
making is
performance
that
for them.
Talk about.
she's
No, but it's based
Lawuratu,
on
no.
How do you
Lawuratu,
do it?
she-
What did you say your manifesto was written? What did you say? You said on experience. How do you build experience? Isn't it based on previous years? So what are you talking
what the story is saying,
What are you talking about? Have you seen that? Have you seen that?
expectation is
Did you
already,
listen to the
and I'm telling you the reality
What are
on
you
the
talking
ground.
about? Stop the propaganda.
You have correspondence in the central. That is the reality on the ground.
What
What of the outward?
that the minister
What of the price of the premix
closing of the
fuel?
season when
What of the
people
prices of the
themselves are
outward?
saying they are getting
What of
bumper
the
harvest after the
reduction
season?
in the dimension of the
Yeah,
boats they use?
But she raised a couple of issues, not just the bumper
You
season.
see the
or
reality.
Nobody has.
You see, they reduced the conversation to nothing.
Nobody has talked about. You asked there about what question did you ask that was going on and all about if they can bring the dollar down.
I gave
This
a
was
plan.
the same person who was saying that when a question is asked and you don't have the answer,
I gave a
you go
plan.
round,
I
round, round,
explained
round,
my
round. You see
plan.
that could she give a yes or no
I
answer? She
explained my
couldn't.
plan with policies.
That's why I said there's a position
explained my
approach to
plan.
it. Look, if the NEC,
She's
when they
talked,
pick the
hold on,
dollar,
she has talked about,
when the NDC
she's talked about
Annie, let me
the
make a
album
point.
motors and who is managing
When
it
the
now.
NDC
She has talked about the premix fuel and who is managing it now.
Do you know
And then
the
she also talked
distribution
about
of
the
premix
close
fuel has
season.
been digitalized for some of the places.
What?
The
Digitalized.
distribution, yes. It's like
It's been
they do it
digitalized.
Get it.
How
Talk to the
so
premix
how are the
fuel.
fishermen?
Let me
You
make
were
my
in this
point.
country where even when
You see,
flooding
there's a
was happening,
holistic
the
approach to
solution
it.
was an
If the
app. I'm
NDC
not surprised.
If the NDC, when they picked the dollar, when President Kufuor left office at one city 20 pesos, and it hadn't increased, I would have deferred everything to Louisa. But they left it at what? We sat in this country when they told us that high-rise building was causing inflation. Dwarfs were stealing money from Bank of Ghana. That's why
You sat in this
inflation
country
and
and
exchange
people told
rate
us we don't
was
eat
going up.
infrastructure.
You get it? So now you're asking her how to bring the CD down. She can't tell you.
I gave you a
But
plan.
at least
Then
she's
tell
talking
me
about
I'm
export substitution. How best to push that, if not through 1D1F, enhancing local production of what we consume, building factories in your country so that you reduce importation. What have they done? Is it the 4 years that their flag bearer said is not enough for a president to do anything that they are coming to implement?
We
that?
have not
Go for
digitalized
oil.
fishing activities in Ghana.
No, you said
We've
fishing
not.
activities.
But what?
I said the distribution of the
Premix fuel.
Premix fuel.
We've
There's some level of
digitalized it.
digitalization to it.
So
About
how does it work?
300 of them and all that.
So how does it work?
Gold for oil.
How does it
is
work?
one of
Lawuratu,
the interventions that
this
has
point
been
you've made, I want
introduced
explanation
to make sure
How
that
does it work?
our exchange
And
rate
it's giving us a loss of 1.1
is reduced.
billion.
You get it. But you sit down here, you don't say anything. You are talking about the future when the things you are talking about are being happened.
The 1D1
If
is not a
party
future
can
project.
go as
It is
low as
happening
saying-
now.
if a
So
party
why
can
is
go
the
as
city
low
running?
as saying
No,
you
if
can
you
make
say
your
1D1,
paternity
it is
test.
happening now.
That is
It
paternity
is happening now.
when it's already existing.
1D1F, are they not
And you come and sit down
implementing
and
the
say it's
policy?
based
So
on
why
it.
is
What
the city still
experience?
running?
What experience? At this point, that His Excellency the President is pushing, His Excellency the Vice President is pushing for interventions that will make life easier. At this time, in 2016, what were we told? That the President of the Republic then told us that he has developed the dead goat syndrome. Today, have you heard any of the President or the Vice President say such
I
things?
asked you something, you didn't answer.
You get
This is from
Such
Ghana Web.
something.
We now
And you're a
understand what
journalist,
digitalization really
the
means.
premix,
Fishermen to Baumia
secretariat.
after digitization of premix fuel.
What did you say?
So, excited Ghanaian fisher folks have poured commendations on Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia following a digitization of distribution of premix fuel to fisher folks in Ghana. Now, Dr. Baumia, Tuesday, September 4, 2023, commissioned a automated premix fuel dispensing and monitoring system, a landmark digital initiative which enables fisher folks to directly access the quantity of premix fuel they required at pumps using the digital canoe identification cards, which contains their biodata with other important data which are linked to the vessels. Now, the initiative rates the fishing industry of corruption in their distribution of fuel, and farmers no longer have to rely on middlemen for supplies. Responding to the transformative initiative, the fishermen were elated that government's digitization driven has reached their industry and commended Dr. Baumia for the efforts and commitment to the realization of the initiative. So that is what
yourself.
I researched
You've
about.
answered yourself. So what I said is not a lie.
I asked you a question and you failed to answer. So
I
I
didn't
researched
feel to answer. I
myself.
said you were a journalist. Check.
Annie,
And you just
Is
did
that-
what
is
But
that
journalists
valid?
do.
If you-
I told you.
You see,
that premix
Laratu, you see, it's not for me. It's not my job. It's not my job to communicate on behalf of government. That's why you're here. So when you come and I don't have any information, and I ask you a certain level of,
I gave
please,
information.
please,
Yours was
hold
superior.
on. It's not mine. It's not
It's
just mine.
supposed to
I
verify.
asked you
For
that.
the viewers.
So I asked you
So what
explain.
people are saying
So
was a lie.
if you mention digitization,
You asked me
and
how
I
it
say
works.
Laratu,
don't
and I
know.
say,
how do I know how it works? I know that the distribution of premix fuel has been digitalized.
So you're saying that as a government communicator,
Yes.
all you can say that it's been digitized and you leave it there.
What is digitalization?
Is that all you can say?
What is digitalization?
it doesn't affect
What
the
is
pricing.
digitalization?
It doesn't affect
Isn't it
the
a process?
300% increase in the price.
No. I mean, I've done the search. I've read it.
Exactly.
So don't worry.
That's what you're
So
supposed
if
to
all
do.
you, that's not what I'm
I
supposed to do.
told
You
you
don't
I
tell
gave
me what to do.
information.
You
And
don't.
you
No,
verified
you
it.
don't tell me what to do.
So what are
You
you
have
supposed
come
to
here.
do
You've
when
said
they
the
have
point.
asked
I've
you to
asked you. Explain the point you have made.
Honey,
You don't say that.
But when I'm on your show,
I don't work
I'm
there.
saying
I don't know how. No, that is even rude to the viewers
When
that's
I'm
watching
on
you,
your show
seeking
and I
information
say
from you.
something,
Let's
who
take
has
a
to
break. We're back
verify it
shortly.
for